ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So, yesterday we saw that in the last two verses, 463 and 464, this Shankaracharya ji has dismissed even prarabdha for the saint. There is no prarabdha even for the body, mind and intellect of the saint. Why? Because there is only one non-dual absolute reality and the rest never came out. The snake never came out of the rope. So where is the question of having any prarabdha of that snake? So that is the absolute standpoint which we saw. So now that absolute standpoint, though it has been explained earlier that what is the nature of the self or Brahman. Again, there are a few verses about which are the pointers of Brahman. And every shloka ends with this last line, Neha Nana Asti Kinchana. So 465 to 471, those set of 6-7 verses, they speak about these pointers of Brahman. So let us see. Paripurnamanaadyantam aprameyamavikriyam ekamevadvayam brahma neha nanasti kinchana. So paripurnam, that which is fulfilled, complete, paripurnam. Anadi anantam, beginningless and endless. Aprameyam, which cannot be measured or incomparable, immeasurable or incomparable. Avikriyam, which is changeless. Ekameva advayam brahma, it is only one non-dual absolute reality which is Brahman. Neha nanasti kinchana, there is no duality whatsoever. Na iha nana asti. Nana means duality. Neha nanasti kinchana. So this Neha nanasti kinchana, so these verses are actually taking inspiration from the Upanishads, especially this last expression, Neha nanasti kinchana. It comes in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Manasa eva idam drashtavyam neha nanasti kinchana. Mrityo samrityo mapnoti ya iha nana eva pashyati. So the Upanishad says that this truth has to be realized only by a purified mind. And when the mind gets purified, it completely dissolves. What will one see? Na iha nana asti kinchana. There is no duality at all. Till the mind is not purified enough, then one sees duality, which is also just a projection, is not even real. But when that mind becomes purified and through steady contemplation dissolves its sense of identity and separation, then nehananasti kinchana, there is no duality at all. Meaning even it transcends its own nature. Body, mind, intellect, all that is gone. Then it gives a warning. Mrityo samrityum apnoti. One will go from death to death if one sees duality. Ya iha nana eva pashyati. And so, this is the quotation from the scripture saying that one who has realized the self, for that person there is no duality at all. Now, this we can understand this even from another standpoint. See, there are two types of vada. Vada means two theories, let us say. One is called Bahu Jivavad. So Bahu Jivavad means there are many jivas, and these jivas all come together as per their karma, and there is a world, and there is a creator of that world who is Ishvara. And now this Ishvara created this world. As per the karma, the jiva gets the bodies, and the jiva, when the jiva realizes the truth, that jiva is awakened. But in Bahujivavad, see, most of our arguments will be based on Bahujivavad. So this Bahujivavad means that one person has woken up. And that's why the question will remain of these two levels. That what are these two levels? That this person woke up, one jiva woke up. What happens to the other jivas? This person woke up to realize the self. But the other people are seeing this jiva. And so this question comes, ki prarabdha is there or not? So that's the relative standpoint at which we see, and we see duality. That's what I mean to say, that we see duality. And so our question is based on the assumption that this duality is real. That there are jivas, which are X number of jivas, so many jivas. Countless actually they are, not some fixed number, but let us say there are jivas in the world. And few people have realized. And the unrealized ones, they are watching this realized person. So how can one say prarabdha does not exist? This is called Bahujivavad. Ekajivavad means there is only one jiva. So this separation of this Jagat and Ishvara and Jiva is not there. There is one Jiva, and this one Jiva is projecting this entire Jagat with all the Jivas, with everything. And there is no separate Ishvara. This one Jiva only is there. So you take the dream example. The dreamer is that one Jiva who is projecting everything. So if that dreamer wakes up, over, the entire dream world finished. There is no dream world after that. Now, what about other jivas? Now, this dreamer woke up. The whole dream ended, khatam, because there was nothing else. So that is the standpoint that the scripture took earlier in the last two verses. That if you say prarabdha exists for the body, that is actually based on Bahujivavad, that there are so many jivas who are existing, and to explain to them, which is what the Shruti said, Jada, they are the No tishtati ayam katham deha iti shankavato jadan. So from that Bahujivad standpoint, yes, to explain to them who are not able to understand, one says. So that is Bahujivad. But when it actually says ki what prarabdha, how can it even exist? That is for at Ekjivad level. That there is only one jiva and this projection happened and this one jiva woke up to realize I am the waker. So entire dream world, all jivas, everything finished. Then one level higher than Ekjivad is what? That's the limitation of dream example. There one should not argue on that. The higher standard of higher level of this Ekajivad is Ajatavad. There is no creation only. That which is unborn, which is infinite, which is changeless, how can it produce anything? No, but it is appearance. It is not producing, it is not modifying, it is not evolving, it is appearing. There is no appearance also. Neha nana asti kinchana. There is no duality at all. It never came into being. Creation never came into being. That's the highest level. Because creation is a logical impossibility also. That which is infinite cannot produce anything, cannot appear as anything because it is changeless. It is logically also impossible, and from infinity standpoint also it is impossible. So that is the highest one, Ajatavad. And those characteristics are what these are. The nature of that absolute Brahman, Ekameva Advayam Brahma, means that this last line keeps coming. Ekameva Advayam Brahma Nehananasti Kinchana. There is only one non-dual Brahman. No question of Maya, no question of Ishvara, no question of Jagat, nothing. So the realization is this. By whom, if you ask, that so there is no realization in that context. There is only one Brahman who is aware, my nature is Satchidanand, I alone am. No space, no time, no creation, no Maya, no Ishvara, nothing. Oh, but that state must be very dull and boring. No, Paripurna is complete fulfillment. No, in this world right now, we are not identifying with that. So we are at Bahujivad level. The fact is we all are that Brahmana. That the three levels again are not from Brahman standpoint. There is no level, there is only one. Even right now when we are speaking of three levels, it's a matter of speech. It is not true. So it is not to give reality to these three levels. These two levels. The third one, the absolute one, is the only real one. But the fact that one is speaking all this, that is just as a help for us to lift ourselves to that level, to understand that this never came into being, creation. So in this level also, no matter what we achieve, there is a sense of incompleteness. There is a sense of emptiness, craving, attachment. That whole cycle there is there at this Bahujivad level. From there one comes to Ekajivad, where one says there is only one Jiva, and that one Jiva is only Ishvara, and that is projecting this whole thing. Then one wakes up. Contemplating on Brahman, one wakes up. So either I can contemplate on Brahman from Bahujivad standpoint also, or Ekajivad, whichever I want to contemplate. If I contemplate steadily on this Brahman, Ekameva Advayam Brahma, Nehananasti Kinchana, there is no duality whatsoever. See, the meaning of that Kinchana means whatsoever. Na iha nana asti kinchana. There is no duality whatsoever. Because duality is what we thrive on. So we want an explanation, because this world appears very real. To accept the world is an illusion that itself takes a long time. Then to say that the world never got created, that is still very high. So, so many facts, so many different conditionings of our mind. That the world is created is an assumption. That the world is real, that is an assumption. To understand the world is illusion, is challenging. Then to understand the world is not a creation, but it is a projection. So it's not a creation, not a modification, not evolution, it is only a projection. And then to say world never got projected also. These are different conditionings. When we keep removing, we will come to this absolute standpoint. World never got created. So na iha nana asti kinchana. There is no duality whatsoever. There is only one Brahman. There is absolute standpoint. And nature of that Brahman is paripurna. It is completely fulfilled. There is no, because it doesn't have any desire. It doesn't have sense of incompleteness. From apurnata rises the whole cycle. Ajnana leads to apurnata. Apurnata leads to dehatma bhav. Dehatma bhav leads to, Ajnana leads to dehatma bhav. Dehatma bhav leads to apurnata. If ignorance is not there, why ignorance is not there? The nature of that pure consciousness is Anand, Sat and Chit and Ananda. Chaitanya Swarup, where there is ignorance. So it will never become ignorant. So if ignorance is not there, then Dehatma Bhava is not there. There is no Apurnata, there is no Vasana, Ichha, Vikshepa, Karma, Karma Phala, Vasana, none of that exists. Everything dismissed, one shot. So Paripurna, because fulfillment. Oh, but that must be so boring, all the time only being fulfilled. We analyze it from our mind standpoint. The mind has got used to so-called variety. Na? So we feel, oh, it must be boring, it must be dull. Anadi Anantam. It does not have a beginning, it does not have an end. Anadi, Anantam. Meaning no birth, no death. It is of the nature of fulfillment. And Aprameyam. Cannot be measured. Ma, miyati means to measure. Immeasurable or incomparable. Why? Because it is only one infinite, and infinite cannot have any other competitor. Na iha nana asti. So there is only one, infinite is one. So it is incomparable. Even words, all these words are only a pointer, but one really cannot explain what it is. So aprameyam, avikriyam, and it is changeless. So how will any of this, so that which is beginningless, which is changeless, which is endless, which is fulfilled, how will it produce anything? If it did not produce anything, where is the question of any bondage? Where is the question of liberation? Where is the question of what happens to the saint after liberation? Are Swamiji, you should have said this right in the beginning. 464 verses we finished, and now you are saying none of this exists. That is what it is. This method in Vedanta is called Apavada. We have done Apavada earlier also. Adhyaropa and Apavada. I don't know whether I shared this earlier, but again repeat if I did. So three aspects are there. One is called Adhyasa. Adhyasa means false superimposition. So what we are doing is called Adhyasa. Deha Adhyasa is there. We have superimposed this body on the self. Meaning the qualities of the body we are thinking are our qualities. That is called superimposition of body on self. Self is unborn, but body is born. Self is deathless, but body dies. Self is changeless, body goes through 6 changes. And please remember, self is not some out there entity. Self means I, aham. So my identification with the body makes me feel I am born, I am changing, I am dying. That is called Adhyasa. So we have done Adhyasa. What the scripture does is called Adhyaropa. The scripture will do a deliberate superimposition. So when the deliberate superimposition is done, then in that there is a vivek. So the scripture will say, there is a body, this body is your tool, you are the Atma. There are 5 koshas here in the whole personality. So Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, 5 koshas. Then one understand, acha, I am not only this body, I am these 5. Oh, ho. Acha. Then what are the qualities of all these 5? That will be explained. Then how to integrate all the 5? That will be explained. Then with that integrated Panchakosha, how to contemplate on the self, that will be explained, and how to negate this, that I am not this, that is called Apavada, which we have seen. The Apavada of the equipment, the Jiva, we have seen that there is this negation of each kosha. We saw why I am not the Annamaya, it is only byproduct of food and all that. We saw each kosha negation we have seen. So what happens is, when this deliberate superimposition is done and the student is lifted out of bondage, then finally through apavada, through complete negation, the deliberate superimposition also goes, and the false superimposition that we had put, that also goes. Both are gone. So it is like that, which now is being done with the world. So we see that, okay, world is real, etc. That is our false superimposition. Then the deliberate superimposition will be done, saying that no, the world was not produced, not modified, not evolved. It is only a projection, and hence the projection is an illusion. That is a deliberate superimposition. Then the apavada will be done, that array, there is no creation at all. Where is the question of any illusion or a projection also happening? So when that apavada is done, this deliberate superimposition also gone, false superimposition also gone. Then what remains? Brahman. That's all. Which always was, is, will be. That also I am saying was, is, will be, from time standpoint, from duality standpoint. There is no was, is, will be. There is no 3 periods of time in that. It is, that's all. So paripurnam anadyantam aprameyam avikriyam ekamevadvayam brahma na iha nana asti kinchana. Now just think, when the world didn't come into existence, what am I fretting and fuming about? Oh God, this coronavirus is creating fear. Our world only didn't get created. If I think at that level, from that standpoint, and it is not it is a blank or a zero. It is all this paripurna, manadi, anantam. It's a blissful state. So from that state of blissfulness, completeness, fulfilled state, when I think about one's nature as that, then where is the question of all these tiny little things happening in the world? Birth and death itself will appear tiny. It didn't come into being. It will appear absolutely insignificant to spend time to think about that. How many petty problems one gets stuck with? This person is not smiling, that person is not respecting, this person did not do what I said. Arey, neha nanasti kinchana. There is no duality whatsoever. It didn't come into being. No, but vyavahara we have to do, no. Okay, so at one level we will say that yes, vyavahara one has to do what is the duty, remain equanimous, unaffected, all that. Please remember, all that is a adhyaropa, is a deliberate superimposition by the scripture to ultimately help us realize that paripurna chidananda, there is only one pure consciousness, that's it. And if I don't realize that, what happens? Then mrityo samrityum apnoti, go from death to death. To completely realize that is to be actually understanding that there is no creation, so there is nothing happening. Now, while I am seeing the world, it will not happen. This is realized in the samadhi avastha, and then abidance happens, then paripurna chidananda one realizes, over. Then then the job is over. Then what, this question of prarabdha exists, does not exist, all that is not even there. The world only is not there. Then what? So this is the highest standpoint one is talking about. Where no duality, no maya, no creation, nothing. Right now we are using all these maya and the scripture and the guru and the grace and all these factors to understand this, that this does not exist. And this cannot be explained that much in words. It has to be finally experienced. And when one experiences it, one will realize that that is the only fact, that it never came into being. Like the waker, when he wakes up, realizes, no, there is never a dream. All the time I was sleeping on the bed. I never went to London, Paris, this, that, enjoyed this thing, that thing. When I woke up, I am sitting here, nothing happened. So, Neha Nanasti Kinchana means that. So now let us see these verses which come ahead, they all are pointers. We have seen those pointers earlier also. Sadghanam Chidghanam Nityam Anandaghanam Akriyam Ekamevadvayam Brahma Neha Nanasti Kinchana. Sadghanam mean it is pure existence. Chidghanam, consciousness. Nityam Ananda Ghanam, it is constant bliss. And Akriyam, it is non-doer, it doesn't do anything. Ekamevadvayam Brahma Neha Nanasti Kinchana. So Satghanam means it, there is only pure existence, not existence of. So the forms etc. that we see, there we see that there is a name, form, qualities, relationship, activity, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Kriya, Sambandh. But existence is the fundamental. It is that existence appearing as all these forms. So when we see the forms, we are missing out on existence. But actually the fact is those forms etc. don't even exist. Only existence is. That's why Sat Ghanam. Ghanam means actually homogeneous mass. Dense. Ghanam means dense. So it is dense existence, meaning there is no, so this is negation of all forms. It is Sadghanam, it is only pure existence. Then Chitghanam. Existence, one may think it is inert. No, it is sentient, conscious. Chitghanam, it is dense existence, dense consciousness. Meaning that alone is, nothing else is. Existence which is consciousness, which is not, they are not two different things. If existence is without consciousness, that existence becomes inert. And we know the definition of inert. Inert means that which cannot know itself, cannot know anything else around. So how will that state be paripurna? One. So if consciousness is without existence, then consciousness becomes non-existent. So they are actually one. Sat, Chit, Anand, they all are one only. We have described it in that way, the scripture describes it in that way to negate what it is not, that it is not a non-existence, it is not something inert, and it is not something which is miserable. It is of the state of pure bliss, Ananda, Nityananda Ghana. And now one may always think that, oh, that, to get pleasure in the world, we need to do some activity, some work, some activity, some action, then I can enjoy. Here it says Akriyam. No activity, no action, no karta bhav, no karma, no karma phala, nothing. So it is Ananda Ghana on its own. So Sat Chit Ananda Ghana it is. That's what it says. The nature of this Brahman is that pure Sat, Chit and Anand. Yeah, Gurudev has given an elaborate commentary on this part. So basically explaining this Sat Chit and Anand only in this commentary. Then Pratyagekara Sampurnam Anantam Sarvato Mukham Ekamevadvayam Brahma Neha Nanasti Kinchana. Now, where is this Sachidananda Paripurna Brahma? Pratyak, meaning the innermost self. It is the innermost self of all. See, you will find this contradiction, apparent contradiction will be there. In one line, it is saying there is no duality whatsoever. Neha nanasti kinchana. In the line above, it is saying that it is pratyak, meaning it is accepting existence of the individual, and the innermost self of the individual is this Atma. So the duality, non-duality will keep, the level will keep changing, because how to lift the student out from this delusion? The student is in delusory state. To lift that student out, the teacher has to come to duality level and explain, while remaining established in the non-dual state. That's the thing. Remaining aware that I am the waker, that waker has to get into the dream as though to wake up the dream character. So Pratyageka Rasam, it is the innermost being, the self in all, the subject or the experiencer in all. Pratyageka Rasam. Purnam, again, complete. Anantam, infinite. And Sarvato Mukham, all pervasive. What we have learned in the Purusha Suktam. Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. It has 1,000 heads. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha. 1,000 eyes. 1,000 eyes means don't say Ocha, one head, one eye only. Don't put logic there. It is a revelation. It's a mystical revelation to say all eyes belong to the infinite, all heads belong to the infinite. Meaning there is only one infinite appearing as all this. So it is Sarvato Mukham. Ekameva Dvayam Brahma. See what Gurudev has explained in his commentary, that Ekarasam, you say Pratyageka is said, right? So it says Ekarasam is equal to Nasha Rahitam. Meaning there is no destruction possible in that. Indestructible inner self is the nature of pure consciousness. And Purnam is explained as Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata, Bheda Rahita, Vastu Purnam. That which doesn't have these three divisions. Sajatiya Bheda means the difference in the same species. So like a dog, so that the dog there are so many species. Vijatiya Bheda means in difference in the different species. So dog is one species, cow is one, human is one, like that. So Vijatiya. And Swagata means the internal differences in the individual of that species. So like a human being. So then the head is different, hand is different, leg is different. Or a dog, same way, the head is different, tail is different, stomach is different, all that. That which does not have any of these differences, Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata, that is called Paripurna. Why? Because the moment we identify with any of this, Sajatiya, Vijatiya or Swagata, the body, mind, intellect, they come into play. And they themselves are incomplete. So how will the experience of completeness be with them? From the state of completeness, we fall to identify with this one equipment. Then how Paripurnata will be that nature of that body? It is already finite. So that which has no such divisions of Sajatiya, Vijatiya and Swagata Bheda, then that is called Purnam. So Purnam, Anantam, Sarvatomukham. So in Sarvatomukham, Gurudev has explained it is all pervading and therefore can never can we reach a point in the cosmos where it is not. It being the very consciousness and the life in each one of us. Sarvatomukha means all pervasive. Now, the moment we think all pervasive, space comes into our mind. This is that which is the source of space also, because space comes into being because of Maya. Maya is the power of Brahman. So naturally, if space is the effect of effect, Brahman is power of Maya and then its effect is space. Then Brahman is definitely all pervasive. In fact, one cannot even say all pervasive because space does not exist in Brahman. But from our standpoint, we say, okay, Sarvatomukham. So these are pointers to use in our contemplation to destroy our false identification, to do the apavada, to do the negation of all the false and deliberate superimposition. So sometimes one may find that what the scripture has said earlier, the scripture is contradicting. That is because a deliberate superimposition was done to remove the false superimposition. So in the negation time, it will appear that the deliberate superimposition and negation, they are contradicting each other. But they are not contradicting. If I have to give a very gross example for this, what is a gross example? How the hair on the hand is removed, Suppose you have to do waxing. How will you do? Put that lemon water or whatever and then apply it. And then it will pain. Oh God. But that water also gone, hair also gone. So deliberate superimposition and apavada is like that. The hair is supposed to be the adhyasa, let us say. False superimposition is this hair. Then that strip that is applied, that is what you call deliberate superimposition. Then pull it out. Both will be gone. What remains? Smooth skin remains. What is that? Brahman. Don't say skin is not Brahman, Swamiji. Array, limitation of example. Anyway, the point here is that that's what happens. So sometimes it appears contradictory, but it is not contradictory. That's because it is actually doing negation. And so that's why when it says Sarvatomukham, it's everywhere. But now if everywhere is there and in Brahman there is no space, so where is everywhere? There's no everywhere in Brahman. A very interesting story Ramana Maharshi used to say from one of our scriptures only, I think. That, he said that there was one disciple, Ribhu, and his guru is Nidag. So this guru is established in the absolute truth. And this Shishya is still into lot of karma kanda. The Shishya comes, listens to Advait Vedant, has understood Advait Vedant also, intellectually understood, but attachment to that karma kanda is not going. So he has not renounced the sense of body identification, and in fact goes back to the house. So it's like this, every morning comes, listens, goes back. And after some time the course got over, so he went home. But this guru, he was very concerned about the disciple. So at different points in time, he will come and he will check on the disciple. Sometimes he will come in disguise also. So one such day he came in disguise. And there was a procession of the king. So everybody is standing in line on both the sides. They are expecting the king and everybody is excited, So the guru is in a, what we call, disguise. So the guru goes and stands near the disciple. And he says, what is all this excitement about? He says, the procession of the king is coming. So everybody is very excited to see the king and the elephant, and grand procession it will be. So he says, Acha, can you tell me when the procession comes? So disciple said, okay. Disciple doesn't know he's the guru. So he said, okay, I will tell you. Then the procession, when it was on the way, when it came, so this disciple said, see, the procession has come. So he says, Acha, what is there? He said, can't you see the king is coming? He says, where is the king? So he said, Are Baba, see the king, na? He's sitting on the elephant. So the guru is saying, where is the elephant? Where is the king? He said, Are, can't you understand? Elephant is down, king is up. So this guru said, Acha, elephant is down, king is up. I can't understand what is up, what is down. So his disciple got very irritated. He said, Acha, you won't understand like that. Bend down. So the guru bent down. Disciple got jumped on him and he sat. He said, now you understand? I am on top, you are bottom, you are below. So this is called up and down. So Guru said, what is you and what is I? Suddenly it clicked the disciple. This person is not an ordinary person. This person is my Guru only, who has come in this form to lead me to that who am I inquiry. I am lost in this world somewhere with procession and up and down and king and elephant and all that. I have forgotten all this inquiry and everything. So the Guru made him aware through this process. And the disciple understood, renounced, went into self-inquiry, realized the absolute, and came to experience that state where there is no king, no elephant, no up, no down, no duality, no you and no I also. Finished, gone. So that is called Vijatiya Bheda. You and I, you see, the application of Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata, if we want to understand, the application of Vijatiya Bheda is to think that I am separate from all the other species. That is Vijatiya Bheda. Sajatiya Bheda is to think that I am other than the other human beings. And Swagata Bheda is to think that I am all this. Head and the hand and the leg and this and that. The Vedanta says that you are none of this. You are that one Brahman which is in all. So there is no Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata Bheda in you. Without you, none of this will exist. You are that Brahman. That is what Vedanta is saying. So space also gets denied, time also gets denied, and all the products of space and time and the five elements, everything gets denied. So at one level, there will be this Sarvatomukham means space is there. It is all pervasive. Brahman is everywhere, in everything. Another level, one will say none of this. Neha nanasti kinchana. There is no duality at all. So that is called apavada. Continuing. Aheyam anupadeyam anad. In your book, it is anadeyam. Aheyam anupadeyam. Yeah, deyam only. If your book has deyam, then that is correct. It cannot be dheyam. It has to be deyam. Aheyam anupadeyam. Aheyam anupadeyam anadeyam anashrayam ekamevadvayam brahma neha nanasti kinchana. So aheyam, it is that which cannot be rejected. Heya means to reject. Aheyam means that which cannot be rejected. Anupadeyam, it is not something that can be acquired. Upadeya means to be acquired. Anupadeya means cannot be acquired, meaning it cannot be rejected nor can it be acquired, meaning it is always there. See, something which is there can be rejected. Something which is false can be rejected. Something which is illusory can be rejected. But that which is pure existence, that existence can never be rejected. Sat Chit Anand, it cannot be rejected because without it there is nothing else. And it is always there. So there is nothing to get it. There is no effort that can be put to get it. So that is called Anupadeyam. Aheyam Anupadeyam. Then Anadeyam Anadeyam Anashrayam. No, it is correct only. Yeah. See, what I had corrected earlier was correct. So Aheyam Anupadeyam. That is correct. That much is correct. Then the next word is not Anadeyam, it is Anadheyam. Dha has to be there. Adheya, that is the word. So Aheyam, first word. Anupadeyam, second word. Anadheyam, dha has to come there, not the. In my book, it is deyam. Anadeyam is written. It has to be Anadheyam. And then Anashrayam. So Ashraya means the support. Anashrayam, it does not have any support. Why? Because it is the support of all. And Anadheyam, it is not the superimposed. Adhara means the base. Adheya means what is superimposed. So it is not the superimposition and it is not the substratum. Anadheyam, Anashrayam. So these are two sets of words. One is Aheyam Anupadeyam, which cannot be rejected, which cannot be acquired. One set of words. Second set of words is Anadheyam Anashrayam. It is not superimposed, nor is it the substratum. Meaning it does not have any substratum other than it is only the substratum. There is no other substratum. So that's the translation. In this translation here, what is given in Gurudev's commentary, that which is to be neither shunned nor taken up, nor accepted, that which is non-dual and without support. There is one Brahman in it, there is no duality whatsoever. So this Adheya word, no, that is not there in the translation. Because Aheyam is that which cannot be shunned. Anupadeyam is not taken up nor accepted. And Ashrayam meaning, Anashrayam meaning without support. But this third word in between, no, Anadheyam, that is not there in this. So that you have to add if it is not in your translation. In my book, it is not there. So that for the word for that is not one resting on the another, or not that which is superimposed. Adhara means support. Anadheyam, that which is not resting on another, which does not have any other support. Meaning it is not a superimposition. It is not something which is depending on something else. So, what does this mean? First two words we already saw, that it is not something that can be rejected, meaning it will the existence will never become non-existent. Nor is it something to be acquired, that no amount of karma will make a person know the truth. Not know, will not make a person attain the truth or achieve the truth, because it's not a product of karma. See, so many people think that Hinduism is only karma kand, and we don't want to do karma kand. But they don't understand what Vedanta is saying. Karma is one part of life. Rituals are one method to integrate the body, mind, intellect. Then it comes to selfless service, and then it comes to single pointedness, and then it comes to non-doership. What many people do, they think Hinduism is only the first step. Oh, this ritualism is there, we don't want to do any rituals, and then they will shift out of Hinduism. Why? Because Hinduism has a lot of karma. And karma, we don't accept, we don't believe in karma kand, so we will all go out of Hinduism. Then they will go to some other culture and they will sit and do karma kand in the name of being non-karma kandi. How terrific is it? It is. Buddha rejected Vedic karma, and all the rites, rituals and karma kand now is there in Buddhism properly. Chanting is there, mantra is there, incense is there, flower is there, idol is there, everything is there. And still the people say Hinduism has karma kand and it is very complicated, I will go to Buddhism. See, you go out of ideological thinking and understanding, and then it is your choice, is a different matter. Without understanding the full scheme, because of some hearsay and the peer pressure and everybody is going to do that, so I'm also doing, that is ridiculous. What Vedanta is telling is such deep heights that of course the self cannot be realized by karma kanda. It is not something that is produced. But am I ready for this? In the Gita also Bhagavan told Arjun to do his karma with the bhav of dedication, arpan bhav. So from karma kand to karma yoga, from karma yoga to upasana, upasana to Guru Upasati, Shravan, Mana, Nividhyasan, Akarta Bhav, Samadhi, that's the progression. So one should see that big picture clearly. So that self is not attained by any karma, that though is said even in Vedanta. Aheyam anupadeyam. Then anadheyam. It is not depending on anything else. Adheya depends on Adhara. So there is no dependence, meaning it is that which is independent completely. A superimposition will always depend on the substratum. So there are different types of dependencies. One is superimposition depends on substratum. Other is superimposition depends on superimposition also. Meaning like how we depend on name, fame, money, people, object. Both are superimpositions. No? Each one is depending on the other. If it is that mutual dependency. Otherwise, one is depending on the other. Individual is depending on money. That is individual dependency. And two people depending on each other, attached to each other. That is mutual dependency. So that which is free from all dependencies. Why? Because it can never be, substratum can never be affected by the superimposition, whatever it may be. The snake can never affect the rope. Rope is always independent of the snake. Adhara. So here it is anadhyayam, where it is not dependent on anything. And anashrayam, it does not take ashraya of anything else. See, we may take ashraya as surrender, we may take ashraya of Bhagavan. So Jiva Bhav can go by surrendering to Ishvara. But Brahman does not take anybody's ashraya. Why? Because Brahman is the ultimate ashraya. Everything is in Brahman. It stays in Brahman, rises from Brahman, again goes back to Brahman. It is the adhara of everyone. By itself, it does not have any adhara, nor does it have any other ashraya. It is the self-supporting pure consciousness. Ekameva dvayam brahma neha nanasti kinchana. So for today, we will stop here. Anything in today's session to ask, share, you are welcome.
Namaste, Swamiji. So in Advaitam, that doesn't mean you don't see Dvaitam. This is Advaitam is in spite of Dvaitam. And the Shastra says that we have Advaita Anubhava all the time, only Advaita Jnanam requires a lot of study. So when they say Sat Gahanam, Chit Gahanam, Ananda Gahanam, does that mean that Sat is equal to Chit is equal to Ananda?
Of course, Sat is equal to Chit equal to Anand. No, how can there be difference? That's why I said if Sat is not equal to Chit, that Sat will become inert. If Chit is not equal to Sat, that Chit will become non-existent, you see. So these are only three pointers to negate what it is not. They are not three qualities. So they all are one. It's one Brahman who is Satchidananda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Hari Om Swamiji.
Um,
When we say Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, so here in the negation, so there is only Brahma Satyam. That Jagat Mithya is also negated. So we have to concentrate on that Brahma Satyam only, which is everywhere and always it is there. So all these pointers are showing to us that Brahma Satyam alone exists and nothing else is.
correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
And Mithya is an intermediate level.
Yeah.
From reality of the world to illusoriness of the world to non-existence of the world. That's
So
what.
that is the step we have to go. Negating each and everything, we have to negate each and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sir.
But please remember, this negation cannot happen with open eyes. Huh?
Yeah. So we have to reach that samadhi state, and then there only we have to.
Then it will happen, negation will happen. But to reach that samadhi state, the understanding that this is an illusion and this never even got created, that knowledge will help the mind to remain internal. Because the mind otherwise will again want to externalize itself.
Extrovert it will change. So that's what I experienced. Every time we sit with our closed eyes, we are inside. The moment we open our eyes, everything starts coming inside that.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Haji.
Existence without consciousness is inert. So is the same as the Prakriti is inert and the Purus is the consciousness, the Chaitanya?
No, Baba, why are we bringing that into this context now?
No, that's because I was just studying the Gita and I was going through this. So is this the same thing or is it different? That's what I wanted to understand.
It is different, Baba. Where is the confusion in this? Sat and Chit, both Sat, Chit, Anand, they are one, which are pointers of Brahman alone. There is no question of Prakriti coming into this place.
Okay.
And when Purusha and Prakriti is being said, Prakriti is Jada by itself, Purusha is the enlivener. There the understanding is very different. There it is we are talking Sachidananda is nature of Purusha.
Yeah. Here.
So there Purusha and Prakriti, how does it come? In Sat and Chit, no, it is not that Sat is the Prakriti and Chit is Purusha. How can it be?
Here all these three are the Brahman only,
all
and they are the
Brahman only. So that's the nature of Purusha. Over.
Okay.
This is to make us aware that we think Prakriti is by itself sentient, like we think our body is sentient by itself.
Okay.
Same way we think Prakriti is sentient by itself, which is what many people say, no? That they think that I don't believe in God, I believe in nature. What's nature? Nature is Jadavastu.
Right.
So there it is meant to convey that point.
Okay.
So this mixing should not happen.
Okay. And this example was there in Upanishad Ganga, no? The Sishya and the Guru, that elephant and...
It must be there, Baba. I've seen Upanishad Ganga 10 years back now. I don't remember.
Okay.
Must be there. I'm not sure.
Okay. Hari Om.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.